Hi everyone, welcome. Basel will be joining us shortly. Welcome, welcome.
Hi, everyone. Good morning to you all. This is Basel. Can you all hear me good? Yes? Okay, perfect. Hi, Laura. How are you?
Cara, I'm standing in for her. She's away on holiday at the moment.
Hey, Mark. How are you guys doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you. I am just going to set this up. So let's give everyone a few minutes to come on in, and then we'll get started. Hi, Crystal.
Hi, good morning.
You guys want to introduce yourselves? Maybe tell me a little bit about where you are in the world and what kind of business you're running. And yeah, I'd love to get going on that front. That'd be good.
Okay, I can go first. My name is Crystal, and I have a RN-led medical courier company in Hampton Roads, Virginia, USA. So hi, everyone.
Hello. Laura, what about you?
It's Cara, but yeah, I'm standing in for Laura. We're in England.
Oh.
We're an HR company, so we support our clients with all the employment law changes, etc., etc.
Oh,
so
nice.
Yeah, anything we can do to make life easier with automation, bring it on.
Beautiful. Well, nice to meet you. And Connor here is the co-founder of FirmAdapt. He is based in Cookstown in Ireland.
Okay.
So,
Hi Laura, how are you?
Her name's not Laura, so I didn't. So what's your actual name?
Cara, Kara. As I'm
Cara,
logging in
okay.
under her Google account at the moment.
Okay.
Okay, no problem. Hey, Mark, do you want to go next?
Yes, sir. This is my wife, Elizabeth. And so we run a CFO consulting business as well with advisors, so on and so forth.
We're in Colorado.
Yeah, from Colorado.
Oh, beautiful. I'm in Phoenix. We were very close to you. We just went camping and hiking all the way in Utah and northern Arizona, and we were like targeting Colorado next. But that definitely is our next goal. So I think we can probably get. Hey, Jesus, do you want to introduce yourself? Do you want a quick minute? I don't know if you can hear us. No, I think his video is cutting out. Okay, I think we can probably get started. Let me share my screen and then maybe just say a little bit about who we are and what we're going to do and what we'll go through. What I want to do, Connor, too, is make sure we mute everyone, and then if anyone has any questions, please ask. Hi, Jens, and nice to meet you. Let me see if I can mute everyone here just quickly, so we don't have anyone speaking over each other. It's not letting me. I think it's fine. Okay. But if we have any problems, we can figure it out. So yeah, so my name is Basel Ismail. I'm the co-founder of FirmAdapt. My background is in product engineering and data science, and I've spent a lot of time working at different companies in Fortune 50, so like American Express and Yahoo and Goldman Sachs and Scotiabank. That's where I really began my career, which is Canadian Chartered Bank. I used to work in international banking and regulations and compliance. So I spent a lot of time looking at operational processes, trying to re-engineer them, streamline them, and then get to eventually to a point where we can have an opportunity to automate functions and automate processes and automate full-blown businesses as well. So that's literally what we do. And I have our co-founders here, Connor O'Neill and then Fahad Anwar. So Connor is responsible for all of growth and hyperscaling and really expanding the company. And then Fahad's responsible for all technology infrastructure and builds. So that's our background. We've been doing this for a long time, and really we like to do these workshops because we feel that there's a significant amount of opportunity for processes that are very manual intensive and repetitive with small businesses that can be rationalized, optimized, streamlined, and eventually fully automated. So that's literally why we like to do these. And really today, what I wanted to do, and just to show you what we look like, you can see me, but the team is, so that's us. So that's our little group. And then we have a whole team of PhD research scientists and product devs and front end and back end developers who help us with building out everything. So yeah, that's who we are. And basically what I wanted to go through today is I want to try to make this as hands-on and as applicable as possible to each of your businesses. And the way that I always view everything and the way that we literally evaluate every single potential opportunity to optimize or automate is through three points. So, and I'll explain that to you. So it's literally 3 steps, and this is exactly how I would do it if I were you as a business owner. Is I would first, and I'll walk through these in detail, but the first step is to always look at your business as a whole, and you want to first identify which areas are potentially most likely going to benefit from AI transformation and or going to be disrupted by AI in some way, right? Positive or negative, right? That's up to you, but ultimately you want it to be positive. So you first have to do a full audit and a full diagnostic assessment of your entire business to uncover which areas and which departments and which functions can be optimized or disrupted or impacted in some way by AI. So that's like step 1. Then step 2, which is tied to the first step, is taking a full inventory of those particular functions that you've identified in step 1 and inventorizing them, itemizing them, and then looking for potential excess, operational bloat, any manual intensive task that could be streamlined, automated. You'll identify that and you'll map it in that step 2. And that's where you map out every resource. So you map out every single person who's involved with each function, with each step of the process that you've identified in step 1. And you say, resource A or person A has these credentials, this is their qualifications, this is their work experience, and this is their involvement with that step of the process, right? So that's inventory and mapping, right? And then the third is, okay, now that I have all my processes mapped out, what do I do next, right? Like, what is the low-hanging fruit? What can I potentially transform, accelerate, automate, disrupt, displace, potentially sunset, decommission, et cetera, right? Any word around trying to eliminate any kind of repetitive, non-revenue generating activities. And ideally, the way that we like to do it is to not eliminate roles. So when we work with businesses, small, medium, large, we aim not to replace people by AI, right? We try to clear up their time, free up their capacity, and then ideally repurpose them, right? The whole intent is you hired them for a particular reason, but if you can take some of those manual intensive tasks off of their plate first, and then try to then repurpose and reuse and increase their utilization and their capacity in some other way, that's either driving revenue or prospecting, customer acquisition, customer retention. Those types of activities are always going to be needed in every business. So if you can free up their time, that's massive, right? So that's what we do, and that's what I wanted to go through today. So the first step, right? How do you where do you start, right? That's like step number 1. Is I would first go into this AI job map that we have, right? So this AI job map, it's FirmAdapt.com/AI. So literally that's what it is. So it's like the shortest URL possible. But if you go to FirmAdapt.com/AI, This AI job map will essentially show which jobs in the global entirety universe of jobs are going to most likely be impacted or disrupted by AI, okay? Across all 11 plus 100 occupation categories. So right now, if I'm looking at global, let's do this globally. If I'm running this globally, it's showing me that there are, and this is, I think, like 28 different countries, but it's taken a long time to build this, and it's extremely helpful. It's showing me that there's 35.9, so 36 million job openings that are identified through the Bureau of Labor Statistics in the US, but also the Bureau of Labor Statistics across different countries around the world, including EU, across 1,100 occupations. Out of those 36 million, there's 34% that are resilient or protected from AI disruption, right? And doing it this way is so helpful, because this tells you the more reddish the tree map is showing, so that particular category, this occupation category, the more likely it's going to be impacted by AI. So you as a business owner, flip that in your mind and think, okay, if it's the more orange or the more red it is, the more likely that there is opportunity for you to rationalize, optimize those processes. You're basically just freeing up excess. That's the whole intent. Is like, where do you look first? You first start with the AI job impact, because this allows you to identify those functions, right? So obviously, office and administrative support is like a massive area of potential opportunity. Another one is anything to do with business, financial operations, bookkeeping, basic accounting, basic financial reconciliation, invoice settlements, receipt matching, receipt scanning, receipt cross-referencing for your tax documentation, like all of that is within business of financial operations, right? So and you could see, I mean, it's not my opinion, right? It's obvious that within office and administrative support, there's a massive amount of potential opportunity. So like just within customer service representatives, so any type of outreach, inbound, outbound, lead acquisition, customer retention, customer check-ins, appointment scheduling, anything to do with reception, virtual assistants, bookkeeping, right? Secretarial, administrative support work. Those types of functions in your business absolutely should have AI transformation. Like there's absolutely AI transformation opportunities there. And, we can debate this till the cows come home, but it's very obvious that those areas are being impacted. And what does that mean, right? So what that means is if you click customer service representatives, for example, it tells you, so it walks you through this very clearly. So it says AI resilience score is 35. So 35 out of 100 is not very good, right? Like, I mean, you obviously want to be above 70, above 80. I'll show you what are examples of those roles. But if you have a team of customer service representatives, SDRs, BDRs, any form of representative that is doing some kind of outreach, there is definitely some opportunity. Okay. And you can see the median salary is 38,000, and just do the math, right? So it's like 38,000 times 7, right? 38,000 times 3, irrespective of the size of your business, there is definitely going to be some extra area to optimize there, right? And then it just shows you exactly whether or not there's some kind of liability shield. So if you're a physician, like a board certified doctor or a professional accountant or architect, there is a legal liability shield. So there is some protection around you being disrupted or impacted by AI. So you'll see the liability shield being really high, right, for those kind of professions. But for these kinds of professions, it's not. It's very low. And then it shows you what you can do with them. So like, why is the job at risk? What are the AI systems threatening this job? In what capacity? And then what is some kind of career survival strategy? So this is what I like to use to try to help the companies suggest to their workforce what they can do to survive and thrive in these roles. So because they're all facing some kind of existential threat, like they are either, basically either deaf or blind if they're not already seeing the impact of AI, and they're already feeling some kind of existential threat. There's some innate, desire to want to do more to at least survive, right? So if you can empower them and show them your career survival strategy, that would help them a lot. The skills for them to learn, right? So they should all be leveraging AI in some capacity, and that could be them installing GBT. It could be installing cloud and cloud co-work. I mean, these are systems that increase your productivity by 10x to 100x, right? Especially for them to use. So these are all the things that they could do, right? Now, again, like, think of it high level. So as a business owner, as a decision maker, you're looking at your business or your department and you're like, okay, I don't even know where the hell to start. This is where you start. So you're like, okay, now I know, okay, there's office administrative work. I got it. Sales and related work. Okay. Retail sales associates, obviously. Cashiers, obviously. Sales representatives, wholesalers, insurance agents. That's a massive one. That's how you get started, right? And then at the end of this, you'll have some general areas that you want to look at. The next step, so that's step one. The next step is to run a full path. So, for example, and this is why we pushed you prior to attending the workshop, was we sent you a few notes where we were trying to encourage you to run a path, which the path is, it's a process and AI transformation handbook that you get on your business that tells you exactly what to work on. So for example, there's a notary service. So notary services are basically people who are responsible in helping notarize, precious confidential documents on the behalf of the business owner, and they come to you. Usually they're like mobile notaries or they're attached to a bank, right? So this is a small example of a company called Rapid Notary. And if you look at them, on the left-hand side, you see, like, if you scroll down, you'll keep going down to a section called Process and AI Transformation. So this section walks through which processes are most likely going to be disrupted or can be transformed and or rebuilt for this business to significantly improve their productivity and their overall revenue generation, minimizing their costs. It just overall exploding their ability to do things and to function as a business, right? And for each of these processes, if you scroll down, it walks you through the specifics. So it's like, for example, inquiry, intake, and availability checking. So if you're any business like a notary service or any type of service like that, you're constantly getting inquiries from Yelp. You're getting inquiries from Google My Business Profile reviews. You're constantly getting people coming in and reaching out to you and prospecting and trying to get an idea of what cost is, availability, etc. A lot of that could be automated, right? So if you're automating that, that's a huge amount of work off of your shoulders. The same thing with booking confirmation and reminders. So that itself, rather than doing it manually, which is what most businesses do, and we literally see this every day, having some kind of automatic confirmation on booking and reminders and having that automated, right? The same thing with document and identification pre-checking. So rather than waiting until you go to the appointment, do a pre-appointment checklist where you're sending it to them automatically. So this can all be done dynamically through robotic process optimization and through AI transformation, right? And some of these require custom solutions. Obviously, you're not going to be able to just do them using like an off-the-shelf GBT or Claude or any kind of like solution like that, like Gemini. But it's giving you an idea of like, these are the types of projects where we get involved in, right? Like some of these you could just do yourself, but for many of them, like this is where we would come in and we would help, right? But the path walks you through that. So it walks you through like, here are the areas to strengthen. Here's what your customer experience currently is based upon us, like as far as we can assess. And then it looks at your online presence. So like this particular company, we couldn't find a website. So that makes it very difficult, right? To be able to promote and market your services. And then it goes through a lot more, like AI readiness. Like there's no website, there's no calendar or booking system from what we could see. Like there's a lot of challenges, right, with this particular business. But if we look at another one is B&W Logistics, right? Which is quite significant. So if you look down on this business and you look at their process and AI transformation ideas, there's a lot more. So there's like proof of delivery and client notification. There's route and schedule coordination. Like we're working on a huge supply chain and logistics project right now for route optimization. So that's like a massive amount of time and money that can be saved if you know exactly how to optimize the routes in different ways and you're individualizing each truck and each carrier to go to a particular route each day, right? So, but these are all examples of AI transformation opportunities. And then if you keep going down, there's a whole beyond this, there's also a competitive snapshot. So you can figure out what are competitors doing. Like, so for example, for B&W Logistics, one of the competitors is MedSpeed, and then drop-off and reliable couriers, right? So they're all focusing on the same thing. It's all dispatching, distributing pharmaceutical/pharmacological products, right? I mean, there's nothing more to it. But you want to see each of these companies, and you want to be able to assess them. So that's what the path is for, is to just get started and get going on figuring out where in your business there's potential opportunities. So, so this is where, you know, there's going to be questions about this. And it's like, where do I go? Like, obviously, like, you would set up time with us, and we'll walk you through this in more detail, and then we'll figure out what you should do, and then what we can help you with, and potentially what someone else can help you with that's outside of our scope, you know, because we're very focused on process reengineering and AI transformation, right? Automation. That's all we do. So if it's something like pure not related to that, then that's not for us to do, right? That's for you or someone else that we can maybe refer you to. And then the customer journey simulation, to me, is probably one of the most interesting sections, because this shows from the customer's point of view what they see when they go to your website, and then where you have the most likely drop off. So this customer journey simulation is the bedrock of conversion rate optimization. So like CRO is like a huge thing that marketing companies are always like pushing, and they're trying to sell you on that, right? And it is fine, but that conversion rate optimization is absolutely critical. So being able to understand like where prospects are dropping out and where prospects are staying on the page. And this is like, to me, it's very topical. Like this is just a superficial review. The way to do this properly is, this is just a sample to give you an example of what can be done. But more importantly, we would do this on Google Analytics or Google Search Console data. So we would take in all of your web traffic analytics data, and then we crunch it, right? We know exactly where you have the highest drop-offs. We know exactly which keywords were used to reach which landing pages, how long were they staying on, what was the bounce rate, what was the drop-off rate, what was the retention rate, how long are they spending on a particular set of icons, how to optimize the color arrangement. There's like a million different things you could do with conversion rate optimization, and this is like the basis of simulating a customer's journey, right? So like, for example, for this company, when a buyer finds and discovers the website, there's not really anything about the location, right? Or service landing pages. There's no index location. There's no courier or local business schema. So there's no local business schema. Is very important for structured data, for how Google and search engines rank you as a business, right? And they rank you in a directory, and they try to evaluate you and the merits of your company. So you need structured data to be able to map that properly. So anyways, I don't want to like bore you to death about this, but the customer's journey simulation is very important. And then the next section is the website AI readiness. So like this is massive, because this basically shows you, and there's nothing like this, like from what we could see. So this shows you how AI ready is your business, right? And how AI ready is your particular website. So what's your website presence? And the basis of this is really three parts, right? So and I'll walk you through it. So basically, the first part is you want to make sure that your website is discoverable. Like that is like step number one, right? Is make sure you're discoverable. Second of all, is your website crawlable? Is it machine readable, right? So you need to absolutely make sure that your website and everything that you're posting and publishing online is actually crawlable. So that means that ChatGPT, Cloud, Gemini, DeepSeek, all of these AI LLM models that everyone's using, you want to make sure that those systems are crawling and reading your data. So the vast majority of businesses don't have this, right? So they don't have an LLMS. So like LMS text file, they don't have any kind of crawlability. So that makes it very difficult for these AI systems like GPT bot or Claude bot or Anthropic AI bot, etc. It makes it difficult for those bots to crawl and fetch information from your website. It's computationally more expensive for them. So they're not going to spend time beyond the first few seconds. If they notice that it's not inherently natively crawlable, they'll abandon it, right? So that's part 2. And then part 3 is it citable, right? Is your content citable? Is it actually showing up on AI search results? Is it when people are trying to search for, let's say, a particular event where they want to promote their products or services, does your event website show up? Does your event workshop show up? Does your seminar, website show up? Like it needs to be citable, right? So that's the whole point of the website AI readiness, is it tells you what is your GEO visibility? Like what is your generative AI engine optimization visibility? So I know we're getting into like a ridiculous amount of detail, but this is like literally what's required, right? You have to do this. Like, there's no other way around this. But for this particular business, their AI search readiness is low. So discoverability is okay. Crawlability is, medium, but then their citability is low, right? Because there's not a lot of content. And then secondly, it's just challenging. Like look at the contents, right? The pages are so thin, right? 5 words, 90 words, 38 words. You need to have several articles that have thousands of words, right? If that's what you're doing. Obviously that's the intention, right? So again, like discoverability, crawlability, citability. Those are like the 3 bedrock foundational principles for a website AI readiness. And then at the end of it, you have your recommendations. So you have like, okay, here's the high priority, here's the medium priority, and so forth. So yeah, I mean that's basically how you would do it. And the last thing I wanted to go through is there's a few other things I wanted to show you. I also wanted to introduce you to the Son of Basel, which is there, and I'll walk through that. But I don't know if you guys can see him. He's literally in the meeting with us. So he's my digital clone. So he's my digital replica. And he's like massively important to, I think, everything we do, because he's like literally speaks and sounds like me, and he looks like me, and it's a little frightening, but he's trained like me. So it's not just a simple, open claw bot that people are creating now, and they're just like, oh, I created a replica. Like, no, this is a deeply customized replica of me that's powered by machine learning models and multiple AI systems that have used like thousands of pages of my content and my recordings and my transcripts to be able to think like me and to answer like me. So he joins all of our meetings, and he gives us like expert insights, and then I can and then I call him. So like I literally have him on my phone, and then I call him, I can ask him questions. He basically he gives me updates on the market, like everything I would ever want. He's right here,
Hello, you've reached Son of Basel at FirmAdapt. How can I help you?
And then I ask him, like, give me the financial market update for Chinese precious metals today, please. And then he does it, right? So then after like a few seconds, he answers. And it's using my frame of reference.
Chinese precious metals in front of me right now. What specific metal are you asking about? Gold or silver?
So I interact with him all the time. So I call him, I say, what do we have on the docket today? What's on the schedule? Tell me more about this prospect. Tell me more about this customer. Tell me more about this new technical approach that I read about. So he's literally, he manages a whole team of virtual agents, as we call them. So anyways, I've done a lot of talking. Let's take some questions before we go any further. What are some questions? Like, let's take a pause. I want to pause for a minute. Like, anything you want me to go through, just please put your hand up, and then, and then we can unmute you, and then you should be good to go. Or I think you can already be unmuted. So.
Hi, I was just thinking about, the overview you provided, and at least from a non-technical standpoint, it sounds like you need to have a good foundation of some Legos in order to be able to build the model. So if your Legos are not in order, or you don't have the sufficient number of Legos, you can't build onto step 2. So the question is, some of those initial Legos are things that are similar to initial business startup or business maturity transformation from a startup to maturity. Do you guys also work with that, or do you have a referral business with somebody who does business startup?
So we do that, and that was literally the next step that I wanted to go through is doing the operational process mapping and inventory, and then monitoring exactly which operation tasks are involved with each process. And that's this. So I'll go through that in more detail, but basically this is the process and time value audit. So that's making sure that there's specific functions that are identified as disrupted or can be transformed or improved, right? Once you have those functions, you focus on individually figuring out which processes are worth focusing time on. And the way you do that is going through a process and time value study. So we do that obviously for the business, but we do it in tandem. So it's very much like a joint effort. It's not, we don't do it in isolation. We say, okay, here's what we've helped you identify these 5 things that could potentially be disrupted that we can help you with. Out of these 5, this one's definitely the one that seems to be taking up like an inordinate amount of your time, like let's say 8 hours a week. And it seems like it's involving 3 people. So like, let's focus on that. And then we take that particular process, let's say it's appointment scheduling. We say, okay, appointment scheduling, and then we itemize it. So we say front office, who's the process owner? Karen Whitfield. What's the purpose? Keep the schedule full, obviously. Trigger, upcoming appointment on the books, right? And there's a reason it's structured this way, is because it needs to be focusing on automation, right? So a trigger is typically like an initiating event for what can be automated. And then you have outpoint and deliverable. Okay, confirmed appointments, yes. Recipient is the patient. So if it's client-facing recipients, you have to be more careful, obviously. When was this process established? 2016. Who created it? Why was it created, etc. So you have all of the history documentation. It's not, I know this seems like overwhelming, but we've done this for so long that it's really not that bad. Like we know exactly how to do it, what to do. It doesn't take that long. It can be done over the course of a few calls. Like it's not that bad. And then, okay, so this is where it gets interesting. So what are the roles involved? So front desk coordinators, who's involved? Tanya and Derek. What are their credentials and qualifications? How many people are involved? What's their skill? What's their blended cost? What's the frequency? Daily, 440 occurrences a month, 6 times per occurrence. So 6 minutes per occurrence, which I know you may not think that that's a lot, but 6 minutes is actually a boatload of time, because it's 6 minutes 440 times, right? So just do the math of how much time can be cumulatively saved. You're talking about 44 hours a month. And then showing you how many hours and the labor costs, et cetera. So there's a lot more, but this hopefully gives you like an idea of you're talking about, like, what functions can be improved, what manual intensive tasks can be streamlined, flatlined, et cetera. This is like the basic beginning steps of it. But yeah, hopefully that helps.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it looks, going through it, it looks like a full-blown like anatomy of what happens in a business.
It's the only way. And honestly, we've worked with different types of businesses for so long that I think we have like a good instinct of where potentially there's disruption. So I'll give you a simple example. Like there's a small business we're working with now where the way that they are managing their events, so they're doing individual courses where they're doing tutorials where they're walking through a paying customer, how to make a cosmetic product, okay? And then from there, they're literally having someone register a time and they pay for that time, and then they're using meta tags to manage each individual function, right? And then they're manually going into Google Calendar, setting up the calendar invite, copying and pasting the email address, copying and pasting the subject title, personalizing it to that particular type of tutorial for that particular kind of cosmetic, setting up the Google Meet links, activating all of that, right? Then doing that hundreds of times. I'm not exaggerating. And I know you're like, oh, that's not so bad. That is an enormous amount of time and headache that can be absolutely transformed, streamlined, and automated, right? So that small thing can clear up. You're talking like 6 to 8 hours a week. It's a full day of work that can be completely eliminated off that person's shelf, right? So yeah. What other questions are there? I want to make this like interactive. So please, there's a lot of really good chat in the chat, so that's good. Okay, so so there's a whole bunch of questions here. This is good. Let me see. more than 50% of internet traffic is created by AI and bots now. Yes, that's exactly precisely my point, gents. That's exactly precisely why this website AI readiness is absolutely critical, right? So typically what you would do is you run the path, you go through this, and you're like, geez, there's an enormous amount of opportunity. You would message us, right? Or just schedule time with us, which is not difficult. You just say schedule consultation. We'll meet with you for free. It's not a problem. And then we figure out what can be done, what needs to be done, right? And then that is it. So like so hopefully that answers it. How can we do business without a website? I know. So I don't think you can. I can debate this, but I don't understand why you wouldn't have at least some type of web presence. You don't necessarily have to have a website. You can have even just a Yelp page is fine, but you should have a website address that redirects directly to the Yelp page or directly to like a Trustpilot page at minimum, like something, give me some website presence. And then also social media presence. Like we have companies we're working with that have no social media presence, and they've underestimated the value of having social media ranking and presence. That presence is very, very important towards contributing to your brand's integrity, and that improves your search ranking, and also all of your overall profile signals will go off in a positive way if you have all of these different factors playing together. So, and then another question from Agatha.
I think Jimmy has his hand up.
I saw that, yeah. So Jamie, go ahead, please.
Her hand up. Oh, yeah, sorry. Okay.
Jamie, go ahead. Can you ask a question? Oh, okay. So I don't know, Jamie, if you're hearing us, please. Okay, Mark, go ahead, please.
Hey, Basel, just curious. So we are consultants, advisors, fractional, do all types of that. And so is this what's that?
You do fractional CFO? Is that your main?
Yes. Yeah. And so get requests all the time, right? How do I keep up with AI? And it's, super easy when it comes to, bookkeeping and repetitive tasks and stuff like that. I guess I'm going, okay, where would you all fit in to what we're currently doing that I don't want to do? Because there's lots of, we have the same issues. We take on clients and so on and so forth. There's tons of stuff that don't want to do and is not valuable. Like, don't put it on me now, so how do you partner with, companies like ours?
So the way that we typically partner with consultants or any kind of special advisory services is we will first run a path, and then we'll take a look at what your business is doing. We'll speak to you. And then there's usually room around day-to-day operational process optimization, like some of the ones that you're mentioning. So intakes of emails, trying to respond back to emails, responding to inquiries, building a built-in chatbot. So building potentially like a replica of Son of Basel, maybe a son of Mark or a daughter of Mark, right? So that could also help field a lot of these questions that can be integrated into your website. And it's not just a simple chatbot. It would be a chatbot that is trained on your knowledge base and would actually sound like you as you're responding to people. That would be like perfect lead magnet, I would say.
And I have that now through Buddy Pro. So it's already all built, just haven't deployed it. But yeah, it took basically, the 20 years of counseling and notes and so on and so forth that I dumped all that in there, and it was surprisingly accurate and will continue to grow, I think. I guess, is this something I can white label? Or is this something where I just, come and go, okay, well, as I'm doing our diagnostics on a client, because these are all things where, I have a meeting at 11 o'clock and it's right. It's a conversion, right? They're moving accounting systems, and that's kind of a no-brainer. And so, but I see areas that you all could come in and take over and do stuff that I don't want to do, but do I white label that, or how does that work?
Yeah, so white labeling is absolutely an option. And then exactly like you said, so typically if there's like a merger and acquisition or an ERP or CRM or accounting, platform uplift or migration or port over, there's an enormous amount of redundant work that can be optimized, that can be streamlined. So like data transformation, data harmonization, data engineering, deduplication, right? So that's what we help with, right? So that kind of heavy process engineering transformation, that type of work is what we help with. Most of the things you see here is we will help with. So for like in your particular case too, anything to do with like invoicing, monitoring it, tax reconciliation, making sure that you stay in touch with them, like marketing campaigns, making sure it's personalized, individualized to each person. I mean, the sky is the limit here. Like, so we'd set up time one-on-one, and then we'll go through step by step. I think would be the best next step, right?
Yeah, we can do that. Obviously, it's going to differ on this, the services that we provide and what the company wants and what they need, and what they're being quoted now is like old school, like $300,000 conversion, and it's so old school. And I'm like, well, that totally is the case when I had to hire 20 people to help me, even build a chart of accounts, but that is not even close to what you should be paying, so and so I don't know if the current consultants are working with just don't know better, or just trying to take advantage of them or whatever. But anyways, okay, well, we'll schedule a call and kind of talk further how we might partner together.
No, happy to, absolutely. And then okay, so there's another question from Agatha. Which barriers to adoption do you see most often? I would say the barriers to adoption that we see most often is people who are inadequately prepared, people who don't have any type of allocated budget, people who don't have the time or capacity to take any of these kind of transformative work. Other adoption is like people's just unwillingness to change their day-to-day processes, who are just not open-minded. Like, I think Mark was like a good example of the right perspective that you should have, which is being open-minded and flexible and dynamic to the changing needs. And you shouldn't be set in stone with like, okay, the client proposal needs to be like 200K because that's typically the market rate. It's like, no. So being fluid and flexible, I think, is very important. Other barriers to adoption is when you have like severely disparate systems. So like we're working on a huge AI data transformation process right now where the client has 30 different individual disparate data sources, which is like, it's called a data governance nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare in terms of transforming, normalizing, standardizing all the data sets into a structured way that can speak the same language. So that's a massive roadblock to adoption. So like, data insufficiency, data quality challenges. What else? There's a million, so I can speak about this for like hours if you need me to. But okay, another question from Ruby. I've heard many small businesses struggle with token cost to run AI solutions at scale. Is this something you see often? How do we assess if it's worth this investment? Yeah, so this is like where we really come in, right? So like our goal is to minimize the ultimate token usage and the ultimate token cost for you. And the way we do that is we use a myriad of AI models. We don't just use the standard off-the-shelf like Claude or a GPT model. We'll typically use a custom trained model that is tuned to your particular purposes, that is tuned to your particular need. And that drastically reduces the ultimate cost, right, of processing the information, of being able to ingest your request, interpret it, and produce some kind of tangible response, right? So that's very important, combined with which model to use. So we don't just stick to one model, we use multiple models. And then another thing that you should always keep in mind in terms of token cost is the cost of you speaking to the model and it processing what you are saying is considerably cheaper than the model's response back to you. So just I'm trying to think of a very simple way for you to remember is the ears and the brain are considerably cheaper than the mouth. So just think of it that way. So the input processing cost of a model is literally 5 to 8 times cheaper and more affordable than the model responding back to you. So if you can limit the amount of output that the model has, which is, you know, defined as this response of the model, then you are going to drastically reduce your costs, right? And then there's a whole bunch of other optimization routines you can do, like, you know, like the ones that, you know, like, oh, I need to compact my chat and so forth. But there's a lot more, right? There's a lot more by using your own custom tuned models, like the way we have, which reduces your effective cost every month. So hopefully that answers. And then this is great. I have to hop off. Okay, yeah, no problem. So, okay, are there any other questions? We only got like 10 more minutes, but yeah, you're very, very welcome, Ruby. You're very welcome. Yeah, I hope you're, but yeah, I mean, basically that's really what we wanted to like go through. I can keep going through these. Like there's so many more other examples. Like for example, if I'm trying to find a simple one that everyone will, okay, so like this one. This is a process that we helped with, and like patient billing and payment collection. Okay, so like even I'm like, you spend so much time on billing, invoice settlements, statements. It just takes so long to be able to follow up and manage that. And if you have like patient billing, and let's say it's billing patients for a portion, you want to collect balances, that takes a lot of time, right? So for example, that's a billing specialist front desk, you know, service. It's managed by 2 people. It doesn't require, like, the skilled level it's skilled, but it's not necessarily very advanced. It's usually around like $30 to $33, $34. You do it every week. It's 180 times, or it takes 10 times, 10 minutes per each time that you do it, which is 180 times, which is a considerable amount of time, right? So like total, you're almost spending, some of these people are spending like a full week just chasing unpaid invoices and partial balances and trying to reconcile any type of lost funds, right? So there's so much excess here. But yeah, I think hopefully, you know, we've given you the tools to get started here. And and then I have another question here. How can you assist people who have no business in a moment and have no business idea yet? I like this question. How can you assist people who have no business at the moment and have no business? I would say then the AI job impact. So go into the AI job impact and get started. Like figure out, okay, what is your role today? So it's funny because I always debate this with my wife because she's a radiologist and she's always like, oh, AI is not going to impact my job. And I've been talking to her about this for 15 years. And it's like, it absolutely is directly impacting her job. So just type in your job. So type in architect. Architect is a good one. So you're like, okay, if you're an architect, are you going to be impacted? So you click it and you say AI resilience is actually not bad. It's higher than I was expecting. So 55 out of 100 is not bad. Median salary is 82. There's 786,000 architects that are currently employed in this particular area. Legal liability shield is not low because it does require proper permitting, licensing, credentialing, and the qualifications to be put in place. That may change. I don't know. It might be considered really litigious, and where you're going to have a high potential probability of being sued or being held liable for your designs, especially if you're an architectural engineer and not just an architect. And then you could see. So if you're an architect and you're like, okay, what are some advantages that I have? These are my advantages. What are some threats? So AI generative design, BIM automation, parametric design tools. This is actually exactly what you should know, because these are the 3 things you should probably embrace today. Like, you know, so August 3rd. That's what I would do. All I can do is suggest what I would do. I would adopt these tools immediately, like learn to be empowered and embrace them immediately, right? The same thing if you're an accountant, if you're a CAO, CFO, CIO, it's absolutely critical that you embrace all of these bleeding edge tools today as early as possible, because then it's going to help diversify your offering, right? And be able to help you survive. And then another path is, yeah, there's pivot paths you can do and so forth, but yeah, hopefully that would make sense.
Hey, Basil, there's a question there from Jens. Do I need to have online tools and software AI interfaces for my data stored? Was that answered okay?
Sorry, brother, you're cutting out. And you said there was a question from Jens about some data storage.
Just about AI interfaces and data storage.
Where is that question? I don't see that. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Here it is.
Do I need to have
online tools? Do I need to have online tools, software with AI interfaces where my data is stored in our office documents enough? Do I need to have online tools and software with AI interfaces where my data is stored or our office documents enough? So this depends on your information confidentiality and your data privacy rules. If it's considered highly sensitive, confidential, like personal identifiable information, then you should absolutely not be using any type of off-the-shelf AI system. So what we typically do for those types of projects is Fahad would set up a local on-premise instance of an AI system just for you. And it's not as expensive as you think it is. So, but essentially we would use a local model that would be set up in your particular environment, and it could be your private cloud. And then that environment essentially is like pseudo air gapped, so it doesn't interact with any off-the-shelf public model, and none of the content that you are uploading to it, let's say it's HIPAA sensitive, confidential data, it's never used for training purposes of any of the other AI models. So just depends on like your data privacy rules. If you don't work in any kind of HIPAA regulated environment, then yeah, you would just basically use you would plug into any AI system that has an API, which most of them do, and then you would build the interface, right? Or we would help build the interface for you that is natively empowered by AI. So that's typically what we do. So, all right, guys. Well, are there any other questions? Anything? Oh, and then Jens, you're saying, okay, thank you very much. You're welcome, brother. Sounds good. Also to German law as the AI for German customers. Yes, exactly. That's exactly. So like I wasn't sure if you were German or somewhere in Europe, but that's exactly the challenge with GDPR and any type of EU privacy acts is they have very strict and stringent data confidentiality rules. And yeah, I've spent a lot of time like studying information security and assurance. So this is something that's like very important to us. Like it's annoyingly important to me, where we literally have a whole section for it around information and data security and what type of compliance protocols we stay in place. This is typically important for not just for GDPR, but for any publicly traded companies like Sarbanes and Oxley Acts, or if you're an accounting firm, finance firm, you have access to extremely sensitive financial data. So you have to adhere to certain privacy protocols and frameworks to make sure that everything is kosher and above board. So, but anyways, the last thing I was gonna say was if you want to book time, I can't accept like every single meeting. Obviously, it's just too much. But if like we'll take 3 or 4. Like so, if you can go to firmadapt.com/start, and please just jump in, book time, and then we can do a one-on-one. We're restricting this to people who are part of the workshop in some way. So just go there. We can book time, and then we can go through everything. So, all right, guys. I hope you all enjoyed it. Oh wait, there's one last question. Ivana, have you explored partnering with someone who can open market for the Americas, Mexico, Central America, Caribbean, and Latin America? Does your client profile focus on volume or high revenue generation businesses? I would say that we focus. Yeah, absolutely. Like if you have something that you want to talk through, like absolutely, we'll talk through it. Our clients are worldwide, because we're sort of scattered geographically and our team's scattered geographically, because it's like the new nature of business. But no, we'd love to talk you through it. And it depends. I don't think we particularly say like we want only high revenue generating or volume. Like there's an enormous amount of opportunity irrespective of the type of business, like as I hopefully I've shown you today. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you and have a good day. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Connor. Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Basil. Awesome. Thank you, everyone.